What's up, boys?
The boys are back.
Episode of The Boys.
We probably need to address the facial elephant in the room. Rick, you kind of alluded to it earlier. Mark, why do you look so fucked up right now?
Dude, I have bags under my eyes for at least the first 3 hours after I wake up. It's just, I look like absolute shit. And I also was drinking Bud Light Platinums last night. So that didn't help either.
It's a power beer.
It's powerful beer. Yeah, that's
definitely not the facial issues that we have in this podcast. That's not you. I mean, you buried the lead with your. I mean, Smithers is rocking a Fu Manchu over here. Evil Smithers. He's trying to get that beeswax mustache going hard.
He looks like a fucking evil magician. That
can't actually. It's illusions, Michael.
They're not tricks. They're illusions. So if you watched our D&D stream, you've already seen this. My character is a paladin who basically sold his soul to a demon, and I had a beard going, and it was super uncomfortable every time I put on a mask. I was just like, fuck this. But wait, what if I shave a ridiculous mustache? I feel like this is like go-to evil mustache, Snidely Whiplash type shit. And it started off as just, it'll be funny for a night. But then my wife made the horrible mistake of saying, I don't really hate it. So now I told her that I'm not going to shave it until she admits that she hates it.
Yeah, she was definitely just being nice. It's not that bad. Pukes in the bathroom.
Right? Until she admits that she hates it, it's here to stay. And I'm nothing if not petty and vindictive. I am a petulant child. My mom tried to get me to cut my hair. When I was like 17, my barber retired. And I was like, well, fuck it. I just won't get a haircut anymore.
I retire from all haircuts. He retired, I retire.
For 2 years, my mom was like, go get a haircut. And I just like stuck with, no, I'm not doing that because I didn't want to. So the more someone tells me it's terrible, the longer it'll stay.
You have to wait till it actually starts curling.
Boy, that's going to be a tough sell.
And then you have to open up your own karate fucking dojo.
That's out of this karate.
I don't know. You'd be a good dojo master.
Like when we were in the D&D stream, they told me it looked like I was going to tie somebody up and put them on railroad tracks, which made way more sense than karate.
Yeah.
It looks like you could do a lot of things with that mustache.
Except for to look good.
Yeah, except for that.
Yeah, except for woo someone. Yes, you could do a lot. Rick, where the hell have you been?
I've been a mountain man, doing mountain things. Had some visitors come. Just been getting all sorts of different mountain views going. Pretty much. Went over to Estes Park. Estes Park is literally on fire. Brutal, like biggest fire in Colorado history. I went there 2 weeks ago before it got real bad. On my Snapchat yesterday, from my apartment, you can see the cloud of smoke coming through on Denver. It was insane. It looked like there was like a giant avalanche, and just like all that puff just was guiding over Denver. It was insane. Looks like it cleared up a little bit today, surprisingly, because fires definitely didn't go out. But
your place is definitely going to burn to the ground.
Yeah, we got insurance. It's fine.
Has the ski season started yet?
I don't think so. I think that starts like after November.
On fire, and Mark's like,
are people skiing in that fire? Fresh pow? Is the ash pow?
Fresh pow through fucking flames? Hell yeah!
Through the
Shred the gnar.
Flames.
You can probably ski down some ash, right?
Yeah, it's like a volcano. That's like got to be in the next James Bond or Fast and Furious is jet skiing down volcanoes or something, right?
Or it's just like our future 10 years from now because the world is dying and we all deserve it.
The new ski pass is just, fire mountains. Go ahead and ski down them ash.
Perfect.
Oh, shit. Colorado's uncertain ski season could have an unusually late start, and they're just showing these fucking flames. Oh, my God.
Good thing about my ski pass just yet. I thought coronavirus is going to be the one to take down ski season, not wildfires. Cool. Cool. Good Earth. Good Earth.
Either way, you shouldn't be out there skiing with a bunch of people.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a nightmare situation. Back to back years, I can't be using these ski passes.
What happened last year?
I was poor. I didn't have any shit.
They're expensive. They're like $800, $700, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like $1,000 if you want to get the unlimited pass.
How much are a ski
Speaking
pass?
of
All your money.
scenarios, is there anything more jarring than when you get a new phone and buttons are in a different place than they were before?
Are you still on that Android shit or what?
Yeah, I wouldn't know that.
Yeah, Apple hasn't changed their phones ever.
I've just had one button disappear over the last like 9 years for iPhone, which was the home button.
And your phone jack, and now your charger and your headphones that come with a phone. Yeah,
phone jack is not a button.
Button.
Okay, you're not mad at all if they're not going to include chargers with their new phones?
Dude, I'll just buy a new one. Whatever Apple needs me to buy, I'm buying it.
Let me lock into that. Yep.
You guys are
if I can help an evil corporation get more powerful, I'm going to do it.
Well, the thing is, all the corporations are evil. It's just some of them make better phones, which is like Samsung and companies that make Android phones.
But yours doesn't have an A14 chip.
No, they put A14 chips in Android phones. They put Snapdragon chips in them.
Speaking of chip, did you see the new Intel chip?
No.
It's like the i5. Supposedly it's going to like do away with like graphics cards, whatever that means. So supposedly like they're able, I don't know. This is what I read.
Unlimited graphics.
You won't need a graphics card anymore.
I'm taking all of this with a grain of salt because it's kind of like when I ask you about football stuff, like you kind of know on the periphery of things, you kind of know some stuff. The i5 has been out for like 10 years. So I don't really know what you're talking about. Intel has always had a built-in graphics. That's like the big difference between Intel and AMD chips is that AMD chips don't have an internal video processor. So if you buy an AMD chip, you have to buy a graphics card. You never had to with an Intel chip within the last like 20 years. So I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm talking about the Intel XE.
Okay. I will look into that and get back to you.
Dude, I'm just a huge computer guy. I figured you'd be able to talk to me a little bit about it, but I guess not.
Seriously, Ryan. Ever since you got that mustache,
literally anything that makes any sense, then maybe I could. But Brett, you are completely excommunicated from this conversation because you bought a pre-built.
Because I have the nerds do it for me. Why would I waste my time?
Mark also had the nerds do it for him because I built his PC.
Speaking of nerds doing it for me, so I had Gibbs.
Yeah.
I talked to Gibbs yesterday, and I was shopping some stuff on Amazon Prime Day, and I need some RAM because I'm just low and saving all these videos we have and all that shit. And I'm like, is this good RAM? What's up?
That's not what RAM does.
Okay. No, I mean, well, I was looking at an SSD and then I had RAM. RAM gets filled up by like video games and shit though, too, right?
The processing power?
RAM doesn't get filled. RAM is random access memory where it's like whatever's happening currently. It's kind of like excess processing power. Like it's short-term memory. All of your long-term memory, like storing videos and stuff, goes to your hard drives, like a solid-state drive or a mechanical drive.
Spoken like a true fake nerd, doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah, right. But anyways, no, I was looking at an SSD and then I wanted some more RAM too. And he's like, why don't you just build a separate gaming PC? Because I want to start gaming more. Like, because I can only have one game with the amount of memory I have on my computer right now with all the other applications I have. So I'm thinking about having a separate rig for just gaming and switching back and forth.
A new hard drive would be $100 max.
But
you
new computer.
Dude, yeah. You do this with everything. We went to dinner with Mark and Kelly like 3 weeks ago, and Mark was talking about getting a bike. And he was like, yeah, I found one. It seemed like a pretty good deal. It was like $2,000.
No, it was like it was like $1,200.
You haven't had a fucking bike in like 20 years, and now you're like, no, I'm just gonna jump right onto this $2,000 bike. Like it seems like a good deal.
It's worth Every penny.
Life is too short not to have the best of the best.
I agree with you, Mark. 100%.
If you can afford it.
You're an absolute boo. And yeah, you say that and you still buy Apple phones, but that's
how I get the best of the best. Yeah, that's what's up.
You know what, dude? Fuck off. All right, don't talk shit about Apple.
I'm so upset by all of this now. Mark is a perfect example of if you come in and try to speak confidently about something, people will generally believe you unless they know better. Like, would you have stopped him talking about an i5 processor?
No. I'll let him ramble on. Oh, that sounds interesting. Mm-hmm,
That's all your fault, Smithers. Like, I talk confidently about it, and then you come in and try to shut it down when you don't know shit about it. You got to look it up yourself.
You have no fucking idea what you're talking about, like, ever.
Dude.
When he tried to tell us how good his fantasy football team was last year, Brick, and he was like, yeah, I got Sammy Watkins in the first round.
Oh, what? And
I didn't pick up Sammy Watkins in the first round.
You guys have a pretty big matchup this week, yeah?
Oh, yeah. You scared, Mark?
The only reason why Brick is so confident is because I don't have my best player playing.
Either do I. Dak Prescott just got hurt.
He was your best player. That tells a lot about your whole fucking team.
Dak Prescott was on pace for a literal historic season.
Yeah.
Still a lot of football to play, Smithers. Still a lot of football to play.
Oh my god, dude!
He had like 400 yards passing more than like the next highest quarterback. It was like unbelievable how many passing yards he had. But are you afraid of Kirk Cousins, baby?
Dude.
He's going against the Falcons. I mean, the Falcons are trash. So I'm putting all the eggs with Kirk.
I'm still a little upset that Mark would not accept my punishment, I guess, for losing. First of all, I will say I did finish Outer Banks. It's just as bad as what I said it was before. So that bet is officially paid off. And if you want to quiz me on what happens or whatever, that's fine. I'll do whatever. Take my word for it. I would rather have done the punishment that I suggested for you two, like 10 times over, than watch fucking 10 hours of Outer Banks on Netflix. It was so terrible.
That took you 2 weeks, right?
3 weeks. It took me 3 weeks to get through 10 hours. Like, if I didn't have a kid, I probably could have done it in a week and a half, but shit happens. That's
so much time to just like dive into a 10-hour show. What happens in the last episode?
I'll say they, because presumably I don't want to spoil it. Maybe there's somebody out there who wants to see it, but
spoil it.
No, what happens? What happens at the end? What's the moral of the story?
There is no moral. The moral is everyone sucks.
Okay.
The fact that they always call the main character John B when there is no other John, like his dad was John B, or was John as well, but his dad's dead. He's the only John on this entire fucking island, and they insist on referring to him as John and his middle initial. So it's not just John, it's always John B. And the number of times that they say it is so obnoxious. It's like getting hit in the head repeatedly with a fucking 2x4 with John B written across it. It's so obnoxious. But anyways, the last episode, he manages to steal what is the fastest boat on this island, even though it's clearly a hunk of shit. And get away from it's like a manhunt on this shitty Florida island because they think that he killed a cop, but he didn't. And so he runs off with the rich guy's daughter. By the way, the rich and the poor on this island are split into groups that they call the kooks, who are the rich people, and the pogues, which are the poor people. They never explain why. Just that's what they call them. So the pogue king runs off with his kook queen.
Whoa, easy there, dude. 2020.
They run into a big storm, and their boat flips over, and somehow it was nighttime when their boat flipped over, and they were in the middle of this fucking huge squall storm, and somehow they make it all the way until morning, until like a tanker ship is going by, and it sees them and just manages to rescue them. And it's already been renewed for another season, and they're going to go to the Bahamas and try and find this gold.
Was it a good love story, though?
No.
Sounds like a modern day Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, Brick, you should definitely check it out. You would love it.
So he didn't actually murder the guy, but he did steal a boat and then wreck a boat in the middle of the ocean.
No, his buddy gave him the boat, like
Okay.
buddy's dad's boat that apparently used to like run cocaine from somewhere, like down in South America. It's just terrible. Just take my word for it. Don't ever watch it.
Okay.
Is there one kid that like gets deep into hard drugs? There's always that one kid.
Yeah, it's the rich kid.
Okay.
So is this
And
like,
I use cocaine, man.
Yeah.
so
Fucking cocaine.
was this a reality show or is it just like a story?
No, it's a story.
Oh, okay, so it's like a shitty version of what was that Netflix show with in the South in Florida off the coast with shit. What's the guy's name? Oh my god, it's Linda Cardinelli's in it. Not Outer Banks. It's
No,
We're talking about.
what you're talking about.
Do you mean Florida Bama Line or whatever the fuck that reality TV show was?
nope. It's also the head coach from Friday Night Lights, the show. Black
I know,
hair,
the guy, but I don't know what show you're talking about.
Linda Cardinelli. They're
You go ahead and look that up, and we'll keep talking.
unreal. Okay, go ahead,
Do you guys want to watch a funny baseball clip?
please.
Why not?
All right. So we're in the age of bat flips and shit like that, and I'm all here for it. I'm all here about making baseball fun, making young people get back into it, like show some swag and shit. This is kind of the opposite of that, or it's kind of like payback. But just check this clip out real quick. So this is Korean Baseball League. This guy hits what looks like a dinger to dead center.
This was caught. No, it's gone.
Center fielder goes up against the wall to grab it.
The go-ahead round now scored.
Nobody sees him catch it, and he just plays it off. Totally didn't.
Yeah, I'm like, how did he just throw the ball back?
He caught the fucking thing over the fence.
He caught the baseball.
He caught
He
it?
caught the baseball. Wow. He did.
Yeah, I think it's a catch. But you say it's home run.
He caught the baseball. Wow.
I don't think anybody knows. I think they're going to challenge this one.
Is he the
Now he does a little fist pump in the outfield. Dude, I'm all here for this shit. I love, like, if a pitcher strikes somebody out in like a big situation and he just pumps his fist and screams running off the mound, I'm all here for this shit. It shouldn't just be the batter that can do it. I want everybody in the field to be able to show the fuck off.
But he didn't show the fuck off. He literally was the most nonchalant. Like, yeah, I caught that. No big deal. Threw it back.
He big timed him though. Like that was the thing, is he just act like it was nothing, and he definitely should make that catch 100 times out of 100.
He's absolutely been there before.
I loved his fist pump. He's definitely growing up. He had a lot of respect for his elders, and he's like, I don't want to showboat. I'm just going to kind of give myself a pat on the back and just, yeah.
His fist pump didn't even go above his waist. I feel like that's how subtle it was.
Like, apologies to the guy that hit the ball, but good for me.
But if you watch Korean League baseball, they're all about the bat flips and stuff. Like they toss that fucker 20 feet in the air and just let it ride. It's very cool. I love the way that they're doing it over there.
That was Korean baseball, not Japanese.
You know what?
I think it's Japanese. I saw like the team names and it looked Japanese.
You might be right. I thought that Korean League baseball was the only baseball playing right now, but yeah. So if that's true, then my bad.
So I did figure out that show. It was called Bloodline for people that are yelling at their radios about how dumb we are.
I remember Bloodline. Also radios. Really, Grandpa?
It's like sitting cross-legged in their living room with a big ass fucking radio, listening to the Chumpcast.
Turning it up. We should get some retro radios going.
We'll definitely be on the radio someday, right?
Mm-hmm. Sirius XM.
New to us. Boop. All right, let's get into the actual show, I guess. Let's talk about some trailers. So I know I say this every week, but I'm older than you guys. Did you miss Animaniacs, or was that something that was a staple in your Saturday morning, Mark?
No, that was a staple. That ended in 1998. It's been over 20 freaking years, but I was still a youngin' and watching that when it was around.
Fuck yeah, Animaniacs, baby.
I love it's adult humor, but it's done for kids. So like a kid won't understand. It's kind of like how Pixar does stuff like that. They sneak shit in, except it's constantly like that with Animaniacs.
Mm-hmm.
Probably can't get away with the pervy kind of jokes anymore. You know, they used to do like Hello Nurse, and a nurse, like a sexy come by and like sit on Wacko's lap or some shit.
Hello, nurse.
But I am pumped for Pinky and the Brain and stuff to come back, like all the the dog who protects the little girl and the wise pigeons and shit. I'm all about it. So we got our first look at this. It's basically them, the iconic scene in Jurassic Park where the main characters, like Laura Dern, is finally seeing dinosaurs for the first time, and they just kind of lampoon that, and it's complete return to form. I hope it's as good as it was before, and this is a Hulu revival.
Do you think this is aimed at kids, or is it aimed back at like our generation who loved the Animaniacs?
Both.
If I'm guessing, I think that it's going to go to people who are my age that have older kids, like probably 6, 7, 8 years old, where they can watch it. They will watch it with their kids, and both can enjoy it.
But you're gonna watch this too, obviously.
Yeah, I watch cartoons anyways.
Cartoons rip.
Cartoons are way better than real action shit.
Yeah, I wonder how much they're actually going to do a lot of those like actual spoofs, like they had specifically the Jurassic Park one. I wonder if they're going to do a lot more of like if that's going to be mainly what they're kind of going after, or if it's going to be just like the Animaniacs before. I can't remember any of like the more of the adult humor because I was a kid, obviously, when I watched it. But Pinky and the Brain, that's on Hulu now. I think I started watching that the other day. I was like, Pinky and the Brain. I'm happy that I just was like watching it for some reason, like late night. But I didn't realize that they're coming back. Which fuck yeah, I'm gonna give you one of those low end fist pumps that don't go above the waist. That's how pumped I am.
Hell yeah. Speaking of Pixar loosely, we did get a much clearer idea of what Soul, the Pixar movie coming to Disney Plus on Christmas, is actually going to be about. Is Pixar okay? Because everything they do lately is just death. Death, death, death. Everybody's dead. Brick, is this sad? Is Pixar sad? Should we check on them?
Pixar, what have they done recently that's been death related? I mean, Soul, obviously, there is some sort of afterlife feel to a soul. You'd have to kind of go down that road.
There's always death involved in Pixar movies, though.
The last one was Onward, where they were talking about their dead father and trying to resurrect him.
Okay.
I mean, there's always death involved in a Pixar movie.
But it is also always about life. And in this trailer, we see that the story is going to be about life itself and new souls entering Earth.
Good spins done, Mark. I'm all about that.
It's a very odd but original premise. So I'm here for it. Plus, it's Jamie Foxx as your main character, who is, I mean, one of the most talented people on the planet right now. Musically, comedically, as an actor, he's amazing at everything that he does. And we know that he can sing. So,
I'm excited for this track.
I think the soundtrack.
A guy who is obsessed with music, right? Like his entire life is music, and he dies one day. And instead of going to heaven, he kind of escapes or falls or something and ends up where they make new souls that are supposed to go to Earth. Is that?
Yeah, he's going to get reincarnated. That would be crazy.
Into what body, though?
Into it. Oh. Maybe they tell you. Maybe they explain that actually in the show. Like, is he going to be is he going to come back to life, you think? In his old body?
I'm guessing that it's going to be like the story of someone who finally accepts that they're dead.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know how I would feel about because you see in the trailer, he kind of leaves the line to go into heaven or wherever they're going. And he goes back to where all the new souls are. And my impression was that they were trying to find his body because they wanted to put his soul back in there, which means does he have a second chance at life? But he's also older. And does he deserve to have a second chance of life? There's probably other souls that have perished earlier than he has. And I don't know. I think you're onto something, Smithers, where he might come to a realization I've fulfilled my life. I've had a great life because of these reasons. I'm ready to go move on, and
I could also see him waking up in the dark in that, I guess, what's the like the Ninja Turtles sewer, like he falls in a sewer. I could just see him waking up in the dark and being like, I have a second chance at life. Like I just knocked myself unconscious for a while, and I had this whole epiphany of, what life actually is versus what, I guess fulfillment, kind of like what Mark was saying, and now how he can fulfill it moving forward.
Yeah, but then he wakes up and realizes he's covered in literal shit and dies weeks later of botulism.
Yes.
Botulism.
Dysentery.
Dysentery. He shits his pants to death. Yeah, no, but that'd be other people's shit. So
Christmas Day coming to Disney Plus. This is probably going to be the best thing that comes out around Christmas, so I'm sure we'll see it. Monster Hunter is the other thing that's coming out this December. This is going to suck, right, Mark?
Did you guys play the game?
No, actually, you know what? I probably should have started with you, Brick. Did you play the game?
No, I didn't. Wilpo played it. He was obsessed with it for a while. I don't know. I just never got into it.
It has a really big following. I just could never get into it. Capcom called it like a worldwide gaming revolution or some shit. I don't know. I never played it. I didn't really have any interest, but the movie looks bad.
I think this is big overseas. It's one of those.
But we got T.I. in this.
At least it's not Machine Gun Kelly.
Dude.
He'll make an
Don't talk
appearance.
shit about MGK. Don't do that right now. He's just coming off a fucking slasher of an album. It won Billboard Top 100. Actually, top 10.
Whatever. I could out-rap MGK too.
No, you couldn't. There's no fucking way.
Not even fucking close. I've never even tried. This is directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who has, if you had to guess, of course he's the guy who did all the Resident Evil movies, because he's doing basically the same thing with Mila Jovovich. It's just, instead of zombies, it's giant monsters.
And Tony Jaa, what's his last name?
He's a Muay Thai expert. He's from Thailand, and he's a fucking amazing martial artist. So that's cool. He's also in the next trailer that we'll talk about, but let's just stick with this. Mark, you didn't answer my question. This is definitely going to suck, right?
No, I don't know. The CGI didn't look that terrible. It didn't.
Good.
And Mila Jovovich, or whatever her last name is, having her as just reprising that type of Resident Evil killing
video game movies,
zombie type monster things. Yeah, I'm for it. And T.I., what do you think? You think over under 5 references to his songs in this movie? Like they're gonna be like, T.I., what kind of guns you got? And he's just gonna be like, you could have whatever you like. And then I'll just fucking leave the theater.
He will definitely write an original song for this, like go the old Will Smith route. Because when's the last time he put out a song? I can't think of it. I don't follow his career that closely, but I remember his big albums, right? I completely forgot that he was in the Ant-Man movies, but I guess I'm just looking through his IMDb page and thinking, like, why? Just why?
Where are the monsters? Bring them out, bring them out, bring them out, bring them out. It's hard to yell with the barrels in your mouth, Swizzy. Had to.
Right.
All right. We just lost 8 viewers.
That's everybody.
See ya.
For whatever we lost in talking about this Monster Hunter movie that is clearly going to suck, we will regain when we discuss Jiu-Jitsu starring Nic Cage. Rick,
Jesus Christ, it's Nic Cage.
This is a your movie, Smithers. I want you to tell me why we have to see this movie. I already know why.
Because it's got Nicolas Cage.
100%. Peace, sold. I'm in.
What I see this as is someone who has heard the words jiu-jitsu before, like a kid. If you say jiu-jitsu in front of them, they think like, yeah, this is what jiu-jitsu looks like. They're fighting with swords and shit. But it has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu at all. And so apparently Nic Cage is like leading every 6 years this crew of martial artists who, it's kind of like the premise from Predator, where he's looking to hunt for sport. And if he's satiated, like his bloodlust is satisfied by the battle that the Earthlings put up, then he leaves the Earth alone. Otherwise, he destroys everything.
But it's a chosen it's a chosen jujitsu artist that he goes after.
Don't
correct?
say that. They're not jujitsu artists. There's zero jujitsu in this trailer.
I saw a lot of neck chops. I don't know about you. That's a lot of jujitsu in my book.
God damn it. I hate you so much. You're exactly proving what I said earlier, but sure. Anyways, this alien looks terrible. It looks like somebody, well, it is just somebody in a suit, so that's fine, I guess.
And they scraped off the face.
Yeah, they scraped out the face and just put a blank screen there, and they just refer to him as the Spaceman because apparently, they used up all their creative juices getting Nic Cage to fucking recruit a group of martial artists to fight an alien.
He's a crazy person, and all you want to see is Nicolas Cage being a crazy person. And movie sells itself.
The ending of this trailer where Nic Cage does a backflip, I can fly too.
Yeah, he does like a triple backflip or some shit, or it was like crazy.
You won. You got me. You got my dollars. I will watch this.
Sold 1,000.
Do you think this might be the second nominee and possible win for Best Actor, Nic Cage? What if this movie is? What if it's that good?
Did you say second nominee?
He's won a Best Actor.
Yeah.
For what?
Leaving Las Vegas in 1995 or 6 or whatever it was.
He was also nominated for that movie about a mandolin.
Mandalorian.
No,
not that.
Look, Nic Cage can act. He's been proving that to us for like 25 years now. So that's not even a question. Nic Cage is not going to be the reason why this movie's going to suck.
Oh, that's the reason why it's going to be glorious, obviously.
Oh, Adaptation, I think, is the movie you're thinking of.
Me?
No, never mind. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, that's
move on.
But
that's not it.
We will move on to our actual news segment. Brick, you've been spamming this in the chat, even though I was clearly aware of it because I posted it first. You want to talk about Super High, which is a movie that's been greenlit, is not shooting or anything yet, but we do have the premise. Apparently, it's a world where smoking different strains of marijuana turns you into a superhero.
It's kind of like a mix of that movie with, wasn't it Jamie Foxx with Power?
Yeah.
But it's just you're smoking weed, and it's with Andy Samberg, Craig Robinson, Common.
What is Common doing in there? He's not a comedic actor.
He's an actor.
Great man. He can act. I'll give you that.
Well, let's give him a little option. Maybe he needed to be the badass. Maybe he's the villain. And Andy Samberg and Craig Robinson are like the dynamic duo that have to smoke weed and try and take Common down. He's probably the big drug lord, I would imagine, that has all these different strains of weed that give him different superpowers.
You telling me Andy Samberg can't be the drug kingpin, you fucking racist?
He totally can. I'm just saying, Common, you said he wasn't the comedy actor. They need to have a big bad. Common can be a badass. That's what I'm saying. Andy Samberg is a goofy guy. Craig Robinson can be a goofy guy. Common is a badass.
I guess maybe I could see him doing sort of like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder, where he does mostly serious stuff, but he can go super over the top.
Yeah. Okay. So what kind of how does the strains of marijuana correlate? Are they going to have like the actual names of weeds and what their superpowers kind of represent, or is it? How do they figure out that they get these superpowers? Are they just high as fuck on accident? Be like, oh shit, I can just make like all these trees grow much higher, like poison ivy and shit. Or
I guess is genetic experiment. Like a lab is trying to grow this, and it's Dave Chappelle in Half Baked, where he's the janitor or some shit, and somehow he gets his hand on a pound of this weed.
Okay, so I'm gonna name.
I was writing this movie.
No, that would make sense. I am going to name a couple of popular weed strains, and I want you to either think of a superpower or a superhero/villain that represents that weed strain to see if we can kind of make sense of it going forward.
Sounds like a draft. Brick is back, like draft, ladies and gentlemen.
Brick is the stoner in this group. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna have to offer to this. I couldn't even name, like, other than OG Kush. Like, I can't name weed strains.
No, so I'm going to name the weed strain. You're going to name the superhero that correlates to it. Like, for example, there's one called Green Crack.
Batman. Because he's a
Why?
crackhead.
Okay. Mark?
Green Crack?
Green Crack is an actual weed strain.
Leonardo DiCaprio dressed up as Green Goblin because he was smoking crack in Wolf of Wall Street and then having him just as Green Goblin, Green Crack. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Crack.
He was doing Quaaludes.
No,
Yeah.
he smoked crack. And you want to smoke
He
crack,
did smoke
bro?
crack.
When they're smoking crack in the parking lot?
He did smoke crack.
That's so
Gr-
fun.
Granddaddy Purple. This is an easy one.
Granddaddy Purple. So I
Think of a superhero or a villain
Right.
that would.
Bill
you-
Cosby coming out, breaking out of jail. He's the villain. And he just starts ripping fucking joints of Granddaddy Perp or whatever it's called.
So I'm torn because do you go to like the color first or the first adjective? So I purple makes me think Hulk's pants, but Granddaddy makes me think Captain America because he's a billion years old.
Ooh.
But and then you could just say Thanos.
I was going to say Thanos too because Granddaddy Purple. Next one. Runts.
Brick.
The strain of weed is called runts.
Called Runts.
Like the candy?
I guess so.
Boy. That kind of sounds like, like a group of throwaway villains, like putties from the Power Rangers, where there's and it's just like a group of them and they just are cannon fodder.
I was thinking you'd get Ant-Man powers. You can go super small and have like that kind of kinetic energy bullshit.
Dude, I'm thinking like you just get the munchies for candies, like fucking Wonka runts, and you just max fucking candy.
Or you
So you're
just,
the Blob.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. Let's do one more here.
I was thinking we were casting actual people. Usually
No.
that's what we do in a draft for Brick. So I think I missed it.
Prepared for anything, which we don't on this podcast.
Exactly.
You've been on it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Fuck, I don't even know what year it is anymore. You know that we don't prepare ahead of time.
That's a lie. Very.
I-
Actually, no, that's true.
So it was mainly just picking superheroes that would make
Okay.
sense for a weed strain. Northern Lights. This is going to be a transition one.
Wolverine makes me
No.
think of Canada.
That makes sense. Mark?
Sabretooth.
You do Dazzler, who like shoots lights out of her hands.
I was going to say Starlight from The Boys. Northern Lights.
It's so weird. Like, I don't think of them as like traditional superheroes or even comic book characters, really, because I've never read the comic. Brick, every time you lean down to do that, it looks like you're blowing rails.
That's because I'm Trainwreck. That's another weed strain. Durban Poison. That's a Poison Ivy one for sure.
All right, are we done with the weed strains now?
I guess so. Purple Punch.
Purple Punch is probably the Hulk.
Yep. Because the pants.
I really thought there'd be more green references in there.
I would go Thanos Purple Punch. He's actually purple in the movies.
We already said that, Mark.
Yeah, Granddaddy Purple is definitely a Thanos. White Widow's got to be Black Widow, right? But just like white.
No,
Black.
I'm
Which
going
is
to say
black.
Moon Knight. I'm going to say Moon Knight on that because he wears all white.
And he's technically a widow because his boyfriend got killed and brought to hell, right?
You're thinking of Midnighter.
And Apollo. Gotcha. Who'd you say?
I said Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. I said Moon. Was his name Moon Knighter?
No, it's just Moon Knight.
Moon
You
Knight.
said, you're referring to Midnighter and Apollo. The
You're
one
merging them to Moonlighter and Apollo.
that I've ever made you read for a podcast, and you will not let go of, even though that had to be over 3 years ago.
It was great. It was great. Dude, okay, there's literally a strain called Bruce Banner. I think that's got to be the Hulk.
No, that is definitely Iron Man.
Yeah, not that checks out. Okay.
All right.
Shall we get to the actual review?
Yeah, so that movie is going to be called Super High, and it seems like low hanging fruit, but Andy Samberg is hilarious, so I'll definitely watch it.
Yep. Fire OG, Grease Monkey.
If you had to pick one show that has already ended, you said no, we're not going to accept that Hollywood is going to either remake or extend, what would that show be and why?
So, is this going for like a revival, like they botched it, or can there be spin-offs of it already, and you wish that they didn't, or what is it?
Sure. Something that you think needs to stay dead in Hollywood.
Stay dead. I just finished rewatching Breaking Bad. I want it to just be just a little capsule of perfectness. I loved it. It was amazing. No need to go any further. I mean, I did, however, like what they did with it. I Better Call Saul didn't do anything for me. It was like a fake news version of Breaking Bad. It just wasn't there. It didn't give me the whole thing that I wanted. It gave me wanting more. But
Okay.
Breaking Bad, just let that little be a little capsule.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. They're going to keep cashing in that cow. Mark, do you have an answer to this?
Man, I'm actually thinking of like animated shows, and not for the reason that they were like Batman the animated series. Not that the last season ended badly, but recreating it, like I wouldn't want them to like come out with a new season, whatever, 20 years later, because I think that takes away from encouraging, the younger audience to go back and watch these shows. Like with Animaniacs, the first thing I think of is like, well, now we're saying like, okay, why don't you just watch the newer stuff, the better animated stuff? Instead, now I feel like these kids won't go back and watch the older Animaniacs. I don't know. I just think there's some shows out there that shouldn't keep them going. They should just leave them.
Let it die.
To die. Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have to make a sequel to something. Sometimes you can just let something rest on its own laurels, or something is so bad that you don't want to see any more of it. Game of Thrones. And both of you had admirable answers, but the correct answer is Dexter. And that is exactly what Showtime is bringing back. Michael C. Hall is reprising his role as Dexter in a limited series. No details yet on where he is. If you recall, the season 8 finale saw Dexter faking his death, moving to Oregon to be a
lumberjack.
Lumberjack, I guess. Meanwhile, Deb has been shot and is in a coma. And Dexter basically told it wasn't his wife, it was like his love interest. And just like, here's my son, fuck off to South America. One of the worst endings of TV of all time. Mm-hmm. Like, notoriously so. Like, think Lost levels of bad. And for some reason, they're going to try and squeeze some more blood out of this stone. I might just refuse to watch this on principle.
I never watched the first one, the first show.
Dexter is, from season to season, is a roller coaster of really good season, second season bad, third season good, fourth season bad. Like they never put together consecutive good seasons, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, Trinity came for a season that was really good. The Ice Cream Truck Killer in the first season was really good. They just botched the ending and just let it die.
Be dead. I wish I had more to say about this. I didn't see the show. I saw one episode at Will Post's house, and it was boring as hell. I was like, this is like a shitty soap opera. I think it was like season 6 or 7. I was like, no wonder I'm not going to watch this show ever.
Fair. No, the thing about Dexter is I thought a lot of the characters are really interesting, and it just it raises the stakes for a lot of things. I mean, his sister is one of the worst characters, like just crying. I think she might be worse than Skylar White, Deborah.
No, she's not.
I don't know, but there's who's the guy that's surprised, motherfucker?
Dokes.
He's great. Dokes is amazing. There's so many good characters in the show, and I don't know if I would say like season 2 was bad. It might have not been as good as season 1, but I always thought it was a pretty easy watch up until the last fucking like 3 episodes where it just completely plummeted to the ground.
who is staying up at night like writing petitions saying like bring back Dexter? Like nobody.
The guy is drunk.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to find my surprise motherfucker drop. And
how do you guys feel about like spin-offs? Let's say they didn't like they didn't do a follow-up season to Sopranos, but they did a spin-off maybe about his son, you know, taking on the whole fucking mob business and things like that. How would you feel about if they did a show like that? Like if they took Dexter had a son or a daughter and she found out all these things about her dad. Like, would you like to see something like that? Or would you just like to not hear about the show anymore?
Dexter has a son. Like they could have done that. Sopranos is doing a prequel for Tony Soprano, like young Tony Soprano. So those all make sense also because they didn't suck like Dexter did.
Okay, so I am absolutely here for a Sopranos prequel about his kind of coming to power. Fuck yeah, all about that. Plus, could be a period piece then. His son sucked. I was not a fan of his son. So if they did a spinoff with him as the lead and him taking over the family business, fuck all that. I don't even know his name.
He sucked.
AJ Soprano sucked.
Yeah, Meadow would be much more likely to take over the family business because she was low-key a psycho.
Yep, she could cut throat it.
But yeah, it's kind of that curse of like being super successful. Like you had to work to the bone to be successful, and you have kids who have everything provided to them.
Exactly.
Quit hitting your desk. It's really loud.
Sorry.
It's like when are you rolling dice right now?
Kind of. Yes, I am.
Okay. You got to get some of these big foamy guys. You can't even hear it.
How's the D&D stream going? Give me a little. What happened? Is Snod dead for real?
Whoa! Spoilers.
Snod is waiting to be reanimated. We're carrying his corpse around in a bag of holding.
He's rotting away. But
Snod's mangled ass body just in a bag of holding, which is like a little bag that can hold a bunch of shit, right?
Yep, but he's a kobold, so he's small anyways.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he was a kobold, but Snod needs to be revived.
Tuesday nights around 7:30 Central Time. So let's keep moving here, though. I'm pretty excited about this. Netflix has basically tasked Adam McKay with making another movie. So Adam McKay, you know, The Big Short, Vice, those great movies that are kind of referential to real life, sometimes real stories with a little bit of twists on them. He's doing a movie called Don't Look Up for Netflix, where two scientists discover that a meteor is coming to Earth. And similar to a current, somewhat real scenario, people just don't believe it. Like, no, science is dumb. There's no way there's a meteor coming. We're fine. It's global warming's a hoax. But the lead actors are going to be played by Leo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence.
All you have to say is Leo, and I'm fucking absolutely in. Leo doesn't make bad movies.
What's your least favorite Leo movie?
My least favorite Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Ooh,
think about
man.
that.
Let me.
Probably Shutter Island.
Cast rounds out as Meryl Streep. I don't know if you've heard of her. Jonah Hill. Brick's favorite Timothy Chalamet, aka Chalamet. Kate Blanchett. Ariana Grande's in there for some reason. Kid Cudi. Are we just going to accept that Kid Cudi's an actor now? Mark, he's your guy. What do you think?
I guess I wouldn't say that just yet, but I don't think work for him is going to go anywhere. He's going to keep getting work in Hollywood if he wants it. So yes, we're going to keep seeing him in movies and shows.
Better actor than MGK.
Who is the better actor, or are you just stating he's a better actor?
Cudi is a better actor than MGK.
I don't know. We haven't seen that much of MGK. We saw Bird Box and we saw
off of his dick. You are the worst. His music is bad. He's a bad actor. Kid Cudi shits on him all day.
Dude, fuck off. Kid Cudi will be more successful in Hollywood, or MGK will be more successful than Kid Cudi in Hollywood. Mark my words.
0% chance.
Mark my words.
Don't be sleeping on T.I.
No, T.I.'s career is dead and gone. Another T.I. reference.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. We're all in for this. There's no doubt about it. That's an all-star cast. Adam McKay, I watch anything he does. Very, very good director and writer. So good for you, Netflix. Let's talk about this, possibly another series of movies that needs to die, but won't. Amazon Studios has signed up for a television adaptation of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, yeah.
So unless you're going to bring back Freddie Prinze Jr., I don't give a shit about this.
where has he been?
Is Jennifer Love Hewitt in those?
I believe it was Sarah Michelle Gellar. So all of those kind of like run together for me.
She was in those. I'm looking
She
at it
was?
right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you know
And
Sarah
Johnny
Michelle
Galecki.
Gellar?
Yes. So if you don't know the premise of this, I don't really blame you because these movies are so fucking old. They're
97.
old now. So this was basically a group of teens out for a joyride. I think they were smoking pot or maybe they were drinking a little bit. I can't really remember. But they run over a dude with their car and they try to cover it up. They do a very piss poor job, and the guy comes back to haunt them by hunting them down with like a fish hook.
Yeah.
Starts killing them. That's the
It's a lot
premise.
of like,
Why do we need more of this?
It's every remake ever. Why do we need more of whatever? It's just 20 years is just long enough for it to hit a new generation of people to realize it's a slow, shitty, bad horror movie.
dude, give me Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. as the parents in this one. And they're like helping out their like daughter or whatever get away from this killer again. Or it's the killer's son now. I'm for it.
Did Freddie Prinze Jr. marry Sarah Michelle Gellar?
Yes, he did. That's what I was going to say.
Interesting. Good for him.
Right?
I don't care about that. I think there's a possibility that this isn't aimed at us, like people who have seen the original, and it's just a cheap way to have a premise and you hit a new demographic of people. Because this was kind of like, I can't remember if these were rated R or PG-13. I'm pretty sure they were rated R because they were a little bit gory. But it's just kind of like looking to a new audience. And maybe they just aren't even aimed at us because we've already seen the originals and we know what happens.
That's probably true.
Right.
Let me bring up the Leo movies real quick so we can choose our least favorite movie. I'll start with 1995, The Basketball Diaries, Romeo and Juliet, Titanic, Man in the Iron Mask, Gangs of New York, Catch Me If You Can, The Aviator, The Departed, Blood Diamond, Body of Lies.
Every movie that he's ever been in?
No, I skipped a bunch.
Okay.
Revolutionary Road, Shutter Island, Inception, J. Edgar, Django, The Great Gatsby, Wolf of Wall Street.
I'll say
The Revenant.
Revolutionary Road because I'll never see that movie.
Gatsby was kind of a flop, but it probably wasn't his worst.
I never saw J. Edgar, so I'm just going to choose that one. Isn't that about the powerful head of the FBI or something?
Yes. I don't think we can pick that one because none of us have seen it. I'm probably going to go with Shutter Island is the worst movie that I've seen him in.
Yeah, probably the same.
Man in the Iron Mask isn't great either, but
I love Man in the Iron Mask. That was great.
One of my sleeper favorite DiCaprio movies is Catch Me If You Can.
That's not a sleeper. That movie rips, dude. I love that.
I would call it a sleeper.
Hustler,
I feel like a lot of people haven't seen it.
One time when I was my college girlfriend, I told her that I love that movie. So she like bought it and brought it over. And I just thought it was a gift for me. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, yeah, I'm going to keep this. I just kept it.
She bought it for herself.
She just bought it and just like brought it over. And I was like, oh, yeah, sweet. This is mine now.
this week's episode of I'm Going to Heck starring Brick. All right.
Well, yeah, Colorado's pretty on fire. I'm halfway there.
You're going to actual heck.
Oh, yeah. Are we going to do Best Man Alive?
Yes, I'm trying to pull up the drop right now, and it is not going well, to say the least.
Good stuff. Great stuff. Good stuff. Great stuff.
What's great is that I can't lean on either of you to just like talk for a minute.
Well, I have mine
you just
ready
make
to
everything
go.
too awkward. You're like, wow, I can't find this drop. Can you guys try to hold down the show right now? Because I'm freaking out.
Yeah, say something.
All right, I got my best man. It's Elon Musk, dude. He just dropped
Damn
the
it,
Model
that was
S.
my best man.
He just
Worst.
The worst. She's the worst person in the world. Huge skank. Terrible. But thank you.
You know I'm the host of the stream, so I can remove myself.
Okay, best man alive.
Whenever I want.
Best man alive. Elon Musk. He changed his price for the Model S to $69,420. He's the man. Best man alive. That's mine. Mark, get a new one.
And backwards, it's 02496. It's from that commercial, the carpet commercial, I think. Maybe
what
not.
What the fuck are you talking about? Are you trying to do the Luna commercial?
Maybe.
Luna.
No, Bob Rohrman.
Horribly.
What's the Empire number?
588-2300 Empire.
You missed the best part of the story, though. He tweeted to announce this. He said, "The gauntlet has been thrown down. The prophecies will be fulfilled. Model S price changes to $69,420 tonight."
Sick. That's amazing. When you already make that much money, you're just like, fuck, I'm going to make it this price because it's funny. That's all right. Give me a high five. Absolutely. 100%.
Skype high five. 1, 2.
Nailed it.
You guys are the worst. I know that I am the Debbie Downer, but it's not funny.
Yo, Brick. So let's just keep this show going, guys. I want
to. You don't have another best man though, Mark?
No, me and Brick think so much alike that I don't know.
We might score the exact same amount of points in fantasy this week because we can tie because we're the best. Can't be beat.
We're the best
in the world.
I have an actual best man alive, and I know you guys don't give a shit about baseball. I'm still watching the MLB playoffs because they've done a great job of not having players get really sick recently. At least the beginning of the season was kind of sketchy at best, but what the Astros got away with was cheating, and none of their players got punished. They had a couple of managers and GMs that got suspended for a season, but people like Carlos Correa and Jose Altuve and George Springer are out here saying like everybody hates us and we're going to prove them all wrong. That's not really the case, because you are a cheater and you aren't really that good at baseball, it turns out, even though they are giving the Rays a run for their money right now. Enter this man who is an absolute hero, a Chicago native, by the way, who is a transplant to San Diego, which is where they're playing this series right now. This guy's name is Tim Cantor. And if you guys have ever been to San Diego, you know that Petco is kind of just downtown surrounded by office buildings and apartments. So if you have the right, like if you're on the right floor of a building, you can see the game. It's kind of like the Wrigley rooftops, but probably a little bit higher up. Anyways, this guy pulled some money together with some of his buddies, bought a megaphone. And Tim Cantor sat on his balcony while this game was being played and basically just parroted Jose out, like when somebody was out in playing center field or whatever, or George Springer's in right. Behind him, he hears this guy on a megaphone in an empty stadium. There's nobody there. It's basically quiet. He hears this guy on a megaphone call him out and say, we have not forgotten what you did. The game of baseball will not forgive you. And he went through the lineup as they were batting and just heckled every single one of them.
This guy just pretended to be God.
There were reporters like in the stadium in the press box saying like they could hear it all the way up in the fucking press box. So the players could hear it. I find this to be absolutely hilarious because it is just the right level of petty. It's a guy, he's a White Sox fan, by the way. Like there's pictures of him in this article. It was a New York Times piece. New York Times went out to fucking San Diego to get an interview with this guy and talk to him about heckling the Houston Astros. Fuck you, Houston. You suck. I hope you get bounced. Please do not go to the World Series.
That will be decided tonight.
He also said, my math teacher would be proud of me. I used the Pythagorean theorem to calculate the distance from the balcony to home plate to be able to make sure that these players would be able to hear him. He said it's about 700 feet from the balcony to home plate.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Pythagorean theorem, baby.
Trying to like find him with a fucking noise disturbance right now.
They're playing in San Diego, so they're not in Houston. If it was in Houston, somebody probably would have shut it down. They would have called the cops or something.
Yeah.
personally, I just think this is fucking hilarious. And
yeah, everyone's probably like, keep doing it.
It's the kind of petty where nobody really gets hurt, but it still calls enough attention to somebody who did something shitty. Fuck the Astros.
Yeah, fuck the Astros. I agree. Plus, those Padres are actually sick. I like their uniforms. I used to not like them, but like for some reason, that yellow and brown, they're making a comeback. Probably because they're good now. Maybe that's the difference. You can't be shitty
Playoffs anymore, but okay.
Who's playing the Astros in the next?
Tampa Bay. They're playing the Rays right now, so
right.
They also wouldn't be playing each other because they're in different leagues unless they met in the World Series. Not a baseball. Right. That's okay. I'm here. Well, I'm a baseball guy.
Houston Astros used to be in the NL too, so
true. They used to be in the NL Central. I'll give you that.
I do have another best man alive. He's actually not a man, but he's a boy, and it could be worst boy alive too. He's just going to be going through the system for sure. Anyway, an 11-year-old boy stole a school bus and proceeded to take the cops on a 30-minute joyride, and he basically swerved over multiple spike strips and flipped the cops off during the whole time. He was
real life Bart Simpson shit.
For real. They have the picture on it is the Magic School Bus, which is funny to me. But over in Baton Rouge over the weekend, a kid stole a school bus. The kid was so small, he apparently had to stand up to reach the pedals. Not only is it hard to drive, like when you're 11 years old, but to drive a fucking school bus, how hard would it be to drive a school bus?
That's impressive. Yes.
This guy he's either like Ricky Bobby in the making, or just absolutely going to be in jail for the rest of his life, in and out of juvenile detention.
Was it a full length school bus or was it like a short bus?
I does not say, but he was eventually captured, or I guess taken into custody after he crashed into a tree. But he didn't
speed chase.
Yeah, he didn't get hurt. Nobody was hurt, which was good, but
also impressive.
He did manage to. Yeah.
Was it a real big bus, or was it just like one of those little buses? That's not as cool.
Either
way,
not
as cool if it's a little bus, though. You got to admit, if it's a
big bus, it's got to be a big bus.
It's a better visual. It gives me flashbacks to like Speed with Keanu or something. Even though that was a publication, but
what a movie! I love Speed.
Oh, it's great. Okay, are we all good here? Let's move on,
please.
That sound means that Brick needs to change his pants. Also, that it's time for our weekly review. So we thought that since The Boys Season 2 wrapped up on Friday, or at least they dropped the final episode. Was that last Friday? Fuck. I have no concept of time anymore. But everybody's presumably had a chance to watch this by now, and we can discuss some plot points. Maybe not go too spoiler heavy, but we can still talk about some of the things that happened here. I am admittedly going to kind of try to take a back seat here and let you guys discuss it, because I was not as high on the second season as it seems like you guys were. What we can do is get some of the bullshit out of the way, namely the Rotten Tomatoes score, which overall, by the way, they kind of aggregate both seasons, which is at 90%, 85% from fans. Season 1 was 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. Season 2 at 97%. Makes little to no sense to me, because season 1 was so obviously better than season 2. Maybe that had to do with expectations, or the bar that had been set, but to me it wasn't close. Season 1 was way better.
I think this season was a little more controversial, though, with like the themes they brought in, like all the Nazi themes and the I don't know,
social media to kind of stir up the
it was a different
public,
vibe.
Just like what
I mean, they didn't. Season 1 was basically peak Me Too. Like they drew that in with a story that revolved around the deep. They didn't really shy away from controversy in the first season either.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this one just had some subjects that were hitting a little bit harder, but it's also weird because I don't the boys really didn't gain that much traction in season 1, and season 1 was so much better.
I'm
I
not
I feel
sure
like
if
everyone
it
now
was-
is figuring out about the show, and it's just weird.
Okay. Well, it is developed by a guy named Eric Kripke, who basically took this from the comic book. Everything I've heard about the comic book, I've never read it, but it's kind of subpar, which is fine. Not everything has to be, great.
glorious.
TV show made out of it, but I don't have any interest in going to go read that, and I don't think Mark does either. Otherwise, we probably would have already. He has also done some work on Supernatural as a creator and writer. Did you know that he was the writer and creator for the Tarzan movie in 2003?
With Margot Robbie.
I don't remember this movie. Starring
Tarzan?
Travis Fimmel.
I don't even know who that is.
TV
Did
show.
this have the Skarsgård in it?
No, my bad. I was thinking of the live action Tarzan. That is not this one. This was a TV show. So
Yeah. Okay.
let's just get right back into this. Mark, why don't you give me your overall thoughts on season 2?
I think we had similar opinions on this one, Smithers. I think the last couple episodes were rushed. I think it did have a strong start. It brought in some new characters that were quite interesting. Obviously, Stormfront, and it gave us a better look at like the relationship between Huey and Annie and things like that. Billy Butcher was phenomenal in his. I mean, Carl Urban in the Billy Butcher role was great again. There was just some side plots going on with like the Deep that I didn't really care about, that were just like meh. Same thing goes for A Train. I feel like they could have utilized him a little bit better, and they were still caught up on like his heart and things like that. And yes, he played a pivotal point towards the end in like revealing all the Stormfront stuff. But I really thought A Train was great in the first season, and I think he kind of just fell behind in this one. But overall, I would give this one in comparison to season 1, a stream it. But if you've never seen The Boys, I mean, it's still some of the better TV that's out right now. So overall, I would say see it. But when looking at season 1, it's not as good.
Would this have been better if they had all episodes released at once, so you can take it all in at once?
No.
I've had so many people ask me that question. Like, why would that change the way I view it? I know it literally changes the way I view it, but like, I don't understand. Like, is the premise there that I've forgotten things that happen, or that like the hype dies off after a week, or what? Like, why would that be different?
You can just take it all in at once, more or less. People like to be able to binge it, and the things correlate a little bit better. Usually, they had all the previews of last episodes in all the episodes, obviously, but sometimes just the grind makes you like something a little bit more than having to wait weekly.
I understand they did do that with season 1. To me, it doesn't make any difference.
Mhm.
And people who are out there review bombing stuff like this because they couldn't get it all at once are just fucking. That's the bad kind of petty. The good kind of petty is buying a bullhorn and yelling shit at Major League Baseball players. The bad kind is sending bad reviews for a show that you actually like but are mad at because they didn't release it all at once.
Right. So, for my opinion on the show, I actually did kind of like the character arc of the Deep and A Train going to that church. Like you saw two sides of the coin there. Like A Train didn't want to do it, but he was kind of desperate to get whatever he could to get back into the 7. And the Deep was like trying to do a redemption story, but he's just such a piece of shit that you were happy to see him flop on every single kind of opportunity that he had. So I found that story arc to be kind of interesting, at least. My favorite story arc that they had that they kind of brought more into was Black Noir. I liked how creepy he was. He's always been creepy, but like to finally find his, weakness per se. And just, I liked what they did with his character. I think for the next season, he's supposed to be the Batman type of character. I want them to find him a sidekick, more or less, like a Robin that's really talkative and really good at talking shit, so that he can like kind of speak for Black Noir, but just be like a little shithead at the same time. I want to see a Robin character like shit talking Jimmy or something stupid. I don't know.
And he
But-
immediately gets murdered.
Yeah, I could, or Black Noir kills him himself. Something like that would be fantastic. Overall, I guess I agree with you that the ending was pretty rushed. Because I guess that final episode just had like everything come to an absolute conclusion in like the last 30 minutes of what the whole season was kind of building up to. Are you guys more excited for the spin-off of the college athletes, or moving into season 3 with kind of what happens with I guess the AOC character moving forward?
Season 3, not close. And it's everything I've read, you know, Eric Kripke's been doing a lot of interviews and whatnot, and apparently he said that Homelander finally goes off the deep end, which I think is obscene, like just stupid, because he's clearly already been off the deep end. So I can't even fathom what he thinks that means.
Right.
Definitely season 3.
I think what he means is like his psyche is just he's just out of his mind, and him having all those like visions and thinking about having those thoughts, just like, what if I were to just wipe out this crowd right now? He might end up doing something drastic if word gets out like about his motivations and who he really is. I think season 3, his true side might be revealed. I also want to note, I kind of appreciated the what's her name? Kimiko storyline. She was a character I was always interested in like season 1. And yeah, we had a somewhat look into her. And I liked the whole redemption and how when she was involved in scenes, it really brought up the tensions without spoiling, obviously, what happened during the season to one of her family members. Really, her being around Stormfront and things like that. But towards the end, that was where I was a little bit upset. I didn't feel like her redemption was fulfilled to some extent. I wish she would have just had like a true one-on-one battle with Stormfront. That's really not what happened. And I get the whole like girl power, bringing all the girls together to be like, fuck you, Nazi kind of thing. I just wish she would have had a little bit of a better redemption story. But we have season 3, so maybe that's going to happen. I
mean, the season finale had me like jaw dropped. I was like, oh shit, yes. And then like slowly I started to realize this is the fucking finale. I didn't even realize that going in. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure how many episodes there were going to be, but it all did come crashing to, obviously the very end there. What did you guys think of Ayakash as the villain?
Give me 1 second. I want to back up to something Mark said. The kind of crescendo battle with the females, that is what should have been Avengers Endgame. That super corny scene where they threw all the women together and they had to draw attention to it. This is how you subtly empower characters as women. No, you don't. They're not even making fun of it. They didn't even say like, oh yeah, girl power or anything like that. They actually gave you female characters who have backstory and have depth and are characters and have powers, as opposed to Marvel shoving it down your throat and trying to make you accept something that just doesn't seem to make sense. But I'm sorry, I digress. Mark, what do you think about Ayakash?
I'm a little bit lost. Hold on. Ayakash
was Stormfront.
Okay.
Liberty.
All right. I don't know her real name. She was, I think I mentioned this a few episodes ago. I was caught off guard with her character too, because I thought they were really going to go like the whole, I don't know, her being, or how do we do this? Are we going to spoil it yet?
No, I say we probably just don't spoil this.
Okay.
Right.
I just thought her character was going to go one way when it truly went the other. I thought she was going to have more of the whole feminist type role, and she didn't. She just did a complete 180, and what she really stood for was kind of unexpected in my eyes, until like episode 5, where you saw her go into that building and just not care for certain people. and you're like, oh, okay, I see where you're going.
I don't really think it was very hidden at all. I thought they were, I mean, everything that she did was basically an allusion to the fact that I don't think it's a spoiler to say that she was basically a Nazi.
Yeah.
That's kind of what all the trailers leading up to season 2, like she's a Nazi. And they didn't really do anything to try and cover that up. So I
in the trailers, you said they revealed that? I don't remember that. I thought
they revealed her character, and if you know anything about the backstory for this, or if you read anything about it, you know immediately that she is a Nazi.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't.
They didn't really drop anything about it in the trailers. Like, oh, check out this new Nazi we added to season 2. Not that, but early in the seasons before she outright comes and says it, I still feel as though some of the stuff she was doing behind the scenes, quote unquote, like when she wasn't on camera, was pretty obvious.
She was super hateable, though. So, yeah, she did a great job playing Stormfront.
And I think that she played very well into Homelander. Like, she was clearly smarter than Homelander, so she can kind of manipulate him. And I love Aya Cash. I hope she gets more work out of doing stuff like this. She's great.
Yeah, you've been a big fan since You're the Worst.
Absolutely. She's brilliant in that show. She can turn it on and off like that. She's really good.
I liked the relationship. Sorry to shoehorn in that, but the relationship between Billy and Huey and kind of the boys in between there, just how Billy or Huey, I guess, kind of reminded Billy of Lenny, or that was his brother's name. He was kind of like kept him grounded, and you kind of see that throughout the show, and then you kind of just see like their relationship kind of morph into that as Billy's past becomes, more revealed throughout the season. So I enjoyed, I guess, the evolution of the boys group kind of getting closer together, but also at the end, obviously, you kind of figure out otherwise, which, I guess can't really spoil it, but what did you guys think of the boys, I guess, relationships, and then how Annie kind of fit in there too, with Annie and Huey? The
relationship that I cared the least about was Carl Urban and his wife, Billy Butcher, and his wife, Becca.
Sure.
The storyline, or I guess subplot, that I enjoyed the most was the way that Starlight slowly comes to terms with the fact that not everything is like sunshine and roses, and there's a really dark side to shit. And that transformation kind of began in season 1, where she realizes like, oh, everything I've ever dreamed of it's not what I thought it was going to be. And I thought that was very well done, and they continue that plot line in season 2. I love Erin Moriarty. She's great as Starlight. Very well done.
Without having I mean, you might have known this, Smithers, if you are familiar with the comics, but I had no insight into what The Boys was about. How do you guys feel about the whole how these mutants or these people with superpowers actually they weren't born with them, kind of thing? How do you feel about that?
I love the reveal. I'm kind of fine with it. What I would like to see is more superhero kids, I guess, show up, and maybe we'll get that as time progresses in this universe. But the idea that Homelander has a son and he kind of has powers that might come to the surface, that's intriguing to me. I want to see more about that.
So I was also questioning, okay, so Homelander, he passed on his genetics to his son. His son was not injected with the Vought serum or whatever to be a superhero. Is that the case with everyone else? Because they made it seem like he was like the Messiah. Like, this is a one-off thing. This usually doesn't happen.
I think it might have just been he's the first.
He's the first.
Okay.
That's what they said.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that he's the only. And it could just be that Homelander was the like test subject 1A, and they got something that worked on him, and they can't recreate that because his body reacted a certain way or some shit. Like, he's just basically the strongest, I think.
Because I mean, otherwise, how do you do a story moving forward with younger superheroes if they're not just getting their powers genetically? Does that mean that Vought has like a New Mutants type of lab where they're injecting all these kids and things like that? I don't know. Or
somebody else gets their hand on the serum and reverse engineers it. Like when Homelander in season 1 brought Compound B over to the Middle East and they created a superhero terrorist, like Maybe they kept it and they're going to reverse engineer it and distribute it. Distribute more or something, something like that. Or they have a kid who is kind of spurned by his quote unquote parents, like runaway parent or whatever. Like one of the probably hundreds of girls that Homelander gets pregnant. One of them just grows up to be a supervillain.
Was I the only one that felt like the mom was kind of shitty? Actually, very shitty. Just the way that she just sheltered her kid completely.
Well, it wasn't really her fault, but I didn't like her at all in this.
She just was lying to him about everything.
Well, she didn't have a choice. Like she was sequestered with him in that big neighborhood compound.
Let me ask you this. Was all the homicide and murder aside, was Homelander a good dad? Father to father? Was he being a good dad? Why was he being a bad dad?
So what comes to mind is you hear the stories of some people who are a little bit older who learn to swim by having their parent throw them into the deep end of a pool.
Okay.
And Homelander does basically a direct parallel to that when he throws his son off the roof to try and get him to learn to fly.
That one was a bad.
I would say probably a good father.
But he's also trying to expose his son to like the real world at the same time because his mother is sheltering him.
Well, it's not his mother; it's Vought. Like Vought hides him. Really I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. He's still a sociopath, and having a son doesn't just take that away.
Yeah, but he was like when he was teaching him, trying to use his superpowers, other than him throwing him off the roof. After that, he was calm and patient with him, and like there were good moments of him being a good dad.
I will give you the fact that he definitely made an effort and wanted to be a father.
Yes, I think he does care for his son for now. We'll see in season 3 if that holds up, because he does show his affection in multiple ways, like the crowd situation, and I think he's seeing a lot of himself in his son because he was young as well when he got all those powers. So,
right. What did you guys think of Lamplighter?
Could have done without it.
He was better at life. No, you had to have it in there because it is a direct reference to something that basically was the reason that the boys broke up in the first place. So you had to have some kind of callback to that. I thought it was my favorite one member of the boys is Frenchie. I don't know why. I like him the best. And to have a little glimpse into what makes him tick and why he is the way that he is, I thought was really well done.
Oui. Yeah, I like Frenchie too. He's so like caring, but he's also a criminal, but he's like such a nice. Yeah, that's what I love about the boys is like the dichotomy there, I guess, of all the characters more or less.
All right, so season 3 says that we're going to get a new character who kind of comes back. It's kind of this monomyth Captain America type person called Soldier Boy, not to be confused with Soulja Boy.
Drake.
So what do we think? Is he just going to be Captain America who comes and basically is the same thing but is uber patriotic as opposed to a Nazi?
They probably have to do some sort of spin zone because of the Nazi reveal for Stormfront. So they bring in the most Captain America bullshit guy of all time. The one picture that they have, like if you look up Soldier Boy, the boys, the one picture that comes up is obviously the actor who's playing him. And the picture of actual Soldier Boy from the comics, it looks like he's like a scared little bitch though. Like he's literally peeing his pants and he's got like the jittery teeth, but he's like supposed to put on this big, brave front, I guess. Maybe he's not ready for it. Maybe he had I wonder if he had some sort of traumatic experience in the past where, he rightfully is scared of, Vought and why they can kind of manipulate him to be in the 7 and, do what they want. Or are we going to
literally pissing his pants?
Or is this going to be a Captain America versus Superman type of showdown with Homelander and, Soldier Boy? I'm pretty interested to see.
He is going to be played by Jensen Ackles, who is one of the stars of Supernatural. So there's a big following there already. I'm excited for it. I kind of led this off by saying I didn't enjoy it what I should have said is it wasn't as good as season 1, and it's still really good, and you should still check it out. Carl Urban is amazing. He's in a ton of stuff now, and I can sit here and say that he's underrated, but I think that he deserves more recognition.
How do we feel about Carl Urban taking over as Wolverine?
Too tall. No.
Mark?
Doesn't work.
No.
He's got the fucking hair and the badass.
I'm going to be honest. I hate his hair. He's got too much going on in the back, and it's just
hair envy. Hair envy.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah, not in on that. They need to find some no-name guy who's short and Canadian and some shit to play Wolverine. But
I don't know, man. I think he'd be great.
have we said everything that we have to say about The Boys season 2?
Yeah. I think one last thing that they did pretty well and made it more interesting is they expanded the universe a little bit more. You saw different characters and different powers that all these soups had, which was interesting. And there's a lot of moments that utilize the powers in a weird, messed up way. I.e., when Homelander like smashed that kid's head that had like the super hearing or whatever. Oh my
Isn't
god!
that like the first episode, and they just bring you that immediately, where you're like, oh yeah, I remember what this show was. Super fucked up and dark and gory.
This show continues to do something different with the whole superhero genre that we haven't seen really any movie or TV show do. So for that reason, I do recommend it.
Yeah, they do have a lot of. I looked up. There's like an Easter egg. There's like 50 Easter eggs that you see that they did really well in the show. That they like kind of correlate a lot of things together. They're gritty with the details. They have thought about this and over and over again. And I love the details. I love the gore, and I love the characters and where they're going with them. I see it. It was good. It was great.
If I can have one thing come back in season 3 that they introduced in season 2, it is Patton Oswalt as the voice of the Deep's gills.
Yeah.
Deeply.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the perfect voice choice for his gills. All right, let's move on. Boys season 2, go watch it. Amazon Prime. Let's do recommendations. And I have a couple, so let me just kick this off with one of them. I once again picked up What We Do in the Shadows. I've sang the praises of the movie plenty of times. It's a Taika Waititi movie with an original idea where vampires are basically doing a reality show. It's very dumb and subversive and just campy. The TV show, when I first started watching it on FX, I didn't think it really captured the same spirit, but I gave it another chance and I watched further in, and I think it really picks up some steam, and it's definitely worth watching. If you have Hulu, FX has a deal with Hulu. Both seasons are now on there, so check that out. I think it gets better. It's totally worth it.
Energy vampires are fucking hilarious. The concept of an energy vampire is brilliant. Internet trolling, there's like a little bit on internet trolling. It's amazing. I'm full with you on that one.
And the guy that they get to play, Colin Robinson, who is the energy vampire, is just the perfect, like, he's the guy who would get in the elevator when you get to the office and ask you how your weekend was. And you just like, it's Monday. I don't want to fucking talk to you. You're going to drain everything that I have. I already hate my job and I want to kill myself. But
I don't need to tell you. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't need the small talk. King of small talk. Nightmare.
All right, Brick, what do you got?
Oculus Quest 2 just came out. Just snagged it. I used my my other VR kind of got fucked up from all the boxing, so I had to get the portable one. It is backwards compatible. It is backwards compatible to the PC, which is what I needed. I wanted that portability, but also I want to be able to play those games that require a PC to really utilize the entire, VR experience. It's dope. It's dope. Big fan.
Any new games?
I bought a mini golf game, still just mainly on the football, mini golf, boxing. Those are really where it's at. Those utilize the mechanics the best, I would say.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
I'm gonna have to go with the new Call of Duty Black Ops beta trailer for the beta game play for Cold War just dropped. Yeah, I don't know why I was saying trailer because I was just watching the trailer. The new beta for Call of Duty Cold War just dropped, and it's pretty good. It's the gameplay is different than like the previous Modern Warfare that we had. This one's done it's by Treyarch, right? Brick, I think, is the developer.
Yeah, they alternate. So
Okay.
yeah, if it wasn't the it's Treyarch, I'm pretty sure.
It's interesting. I played a little bit of it yesterday. It's pretty fun. New guns, new maps. You get to play in Miami. What's up?
How do you get the beta?
You just go on Xbox. It's on the Xbox store. You have to buy the game though. You have to pre-order the game and then you get to play the beta.
Okay.
It's like release. Similar to what they do on PC and stuff.
How long is the beta running for?
I have no idea. Probably a few days, a week maybe. Not sure. It's fun though. I'm not sure if it's as good though.
Oh, it's October 13th through the 15th. So it's done?
So it's already over.
The beta will be available to download for free for all players starting October 17th. So that's today, actually. The preload starts on the 13th through the 15th. The beta starts the 17th. It doesn't say a finish date, though.
I think it's coming out relatively soon, so it may not have one. It may just run up until release. But
that would be crazy. Okay.
I mean, that's kind of the thing now when they do with early release and shit, and they just release games that aren't done. Cough, Baldur's Gate 3, cough.
Right.
Where the animations are bad and it's glitchy as fuck, but people still play it. So, but that's probably why you ran out of room on your PC, Marcus, because you keep downloading Call of Duty games and they're like 200 gigs. Every update is 40 fucking gigs or something. So
surprisingly, this one didn't take that long to update. And no, I didn't download this on my PC. This one was just on my Xbox. It only took like 2 hours, which isn't that bad for a game like that.
Oh, so you could actually download for free without buying the game. It looks like starting today. The beta will be available to download for free for all other players starting October 17th. If you pre-order it, you get it on the 13th.
Okay, that's why I could play yesterday, I guess.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Cool.
And it launches on November 13th. That's when it actually releases.
The game releases, got it. I also watched a movie which Brick, I told you that you would probably be into, called Save Yourselves. It's the movie where a man and his girlfriend, or a girlfriend and her man, basically disconnect from the internet and cell phones and email and shit and go up to this cabin. Meanwhile, aliens invade Earth. It's a comedy. There's like a little bit of gore in there, a little bit of suspense, but it's a comedy. The main characters are unbearable for the first 20 minutes. They suck. They're so fucking stupid. They're the I don't know, like the avatar of what old people think that millennials are, where they just are not capable of doing anything. You know, you don't have any mechanical skills or anything like that. And I'm sure that there are people like that out there, but this is just a trope of that. But once the aliens show up, it gets way better. There's some heartfelt stuff in there. I think it's definitely worth a watch. The ending is a little bit controversial. If you're one of those people that needs everything wrapped up in a neat little package, it's probably not for you, the ending at least. But I think it's definitely worth checking out. You can rent it for $6 on Amazon Prime, and it'll kill an hour and a half for you. So
yeah, it's an hour 33, comedy fantasy. I'm all about that. You know what releases next week that I would have paid $30 for on Amazon Prime?
Borat?
Very nice, very nice. Yes, Borat is coming out next week. Is that the one we were going to review?
Probably. I mean, I don't know what we're going to say about it other than, hey, Borat, and just like quote
very nice.
He says,
do this, do that. Yes, very nice.
Yeah, I don't really know what else we would possibly review. So
we could do Bly Manor. That's getting some heat online. I guess it's been pretty shitty towards the end.
I didn't start it yet. That'd be a lot.
The reason I can't get myself to start it, I think it's kind of like trying to watch The Boys. Sometimes you just have your kid in your lap and you're like, I don't want him to see what's happening on screen right now because it's super fucked up.
Earmuffs.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing about a ghost story.
It's not that bad so far. There's just a really shitty little kid that you just want to punch in the face, but that's about it.
Wow, Father of the Year right there. All right.
Let's
wrap this up because we're already running long. This has been episode 217 of the Chumpcast. As always, you can follow us on all social media platforms at the Chumpcast. You can call or text us at 847-920-6107. Our D&D stream should be Tuesday night around 7:30 on Twitch, _Chumpcast, DM'd by our wonderful Dungeon Master Joe at Leverpull on Twitter and at Pull the Lever DM on Instagram. We should also plug, he's got a charity stream that I believe is going on tonight. So let me see if I can pull that up real quick and we'll give him a plug. But he does these probably every couple of months. This is going to benefit the Dragonfall Foundation, which I'm not completely sure what that is, but you can check this out.
Sounds cool.
Dragonfall will be the Twitch channel, Dragonfall Con, so twitch.tv/DragonfallCon, no spaces, no underscores. Check that out tonight at 6 p.m. And I think that is East Coast. I don't know. We'll reshare that on Instagram and Twitter and shit. So check that out. Mark, what you got?
Nothing. Till
Great.
next time.
Until next.
We didn't do our picks for the NFL, but yeah. Till next time.
Yeah, too late.
Jumps out.
Not against the Jets and the Giants. They're ash. Peace.
Packers, peace.